Your ability to think clearly, make sound decisions, and solve problems effectively will determine your success in life. Critical thinking is not a luxury, it's a necessity. We live in a world filled with distractions, noise, and information overload. The ability to filter through it all and make smart, informed decisions is the difference between progress and stagnation. But here's the catch. Most people don't know how to think critically, and that's where they fall short. They react impulsively, make assumptions, and trust emotions over facts. The result? Poor decisions, wasted time, and unnecessary stress. This book is designed to fix that. It will instantly boost your critical thinking skills by teaching you simple, actionable strategies to question your thoughts, challenge your assumptions, and separate emotions from logic. It's not about complicated theories or abstract concepts. It's about real-life, everyday thinking that will improve how you handle everything from work problems to personal challenges. By the end of this book, you won't just think better, you'll make better choices, solve problems faster, and confidently navigate any situation. Ready to upgrade your mind? Let's get started. Chapter 1. Question your thoughts before you trust your decisions. Most people live their entire lives without realizing how often they act on thoughts that are incomplete, emotionally charged, or entirely false. You might assume a thought is valid just because it came from your own mind. But the truth is, your thoughts are often untested ideas, shaped by years of bias, emotion, influence, and habit. And unless you learn to question your thoughts before trusting them, they will silently control the direction of your life. When something doesn't feel right, or when you're about to make a decision, big or small, there's always a thought that sparks that action. It might be a silent assumption, a judgment about someone else, or an internal belief about what you're capable of. And unless you stop and ask where that thought is coming from, you'll keep operating from a place of mental autopilot. A thought enters your mind. You accept it as truth. You react. That's the chain. That's how most people live. But what if you interrupted that chain? What if you inserted a moment of awareness before reaction? What if you questioned the thought that was driving your choice? Doing that is not just smart, it's essential. Because the world will not pause to warn you when you're thinking in the wrong direction. Life won't stop to tell you, this belief is built on fear, not fact. That's your responsibility. And taking that responsibility seriously is the first step to becoming mentally strong and emotionally intelligent. Thoughts are fast. Some happen in a fraction of a second. You might not even realize you've had a thought before you're already reacting to it. You might assume someone is judging you just because they looked at you a certain way. You might assume a task is impossible before you've even started. You might assume someone's tone means they're angry when they're just tired. These micro thoughts influence your behavior, and over time, they shape your results. If you want to change your outcomes, you have to start at the source, your thinking. You've probably been told to trust your gut or follow your instincts. And yes, sometimes your intuition serves you well. But more often, especially in complex situations or emotionally charged moments, your thoughts are distorted by past experiences, unhealed wounds, and fear of the unknown. That's why you can't blindly trust your first reaction. You need to develop the habit of slowing down and mentally stepping back. You need to look at your thought and ask, is this accurate? Is this helpful? Is this based on reality or emotion? Imagine how your life would change if you did this consistently. You'd avoid unnecessary arguments. You'd make better choices with your time and energy. You'd stop doubting yourself over imaginary problems. You'd learn to lead your thoughts, not follow them. This shift is powerful, but it takes training, and that training begins with honesty. You have to become brutally honest with yourself about how often your thoughts are unexamined. Ask yourself, what thoughts do I act on without evidence? You'll start to notice how many of your reactions are based on assumptions. You'll see how often you avoid opportunities because your thoughts immediately tell you you're not good enough or it's too risky. Those are not facts. They're just mental habits. And habits can be changed. The more you question your thoughts, the more you'll begin to see the patterns. You'll notice the kinds of thoughts that tend to show up when you're tired, stressed, overwhelmed, or afraid. You'll recognize the voice of doubt, the voice of fear, the voice of anger. And over time, you'll learn to pause and respond rather than react. This isn't about overthinking. It's about intentional thinking. It's about becoming the kind of person who doesn't just think but thinks about their thinking. For example, let's say you're about to start something new, a project, a job, a relationship. A thought comes up. What if I fail? If you trust that thought without questioning it, you might hold back. You might procrastinate. You might talk yourself out of it completely. But if you pause and ask, where is this thought coming from? Is it based on my current skills or just past fear? What would I do if I didn't have this thought? You create space to choose a better response. Or maybe you receive criticism from someone. Your mind says, they don't respect me. Without questioning that thought, you might get defensive or shut down. But if you examine it, you might realize they're trying to help, or that their tone triggered an old wound that has nothing to do with the present moment. This kind of self-examination is not weakness, it's strength. It takes mental toughness to look at your own thoughts and be willing to admit that some of them are wrong. Some of them are rooted in fear. Some of them were passed down from people who didn't know any better themselves. You are allowed to change your mind. You are allowed to upgrade your beliefs. You are allowed to release old thoughts that no longer serve who you want to become. But you can't do that unless you start paying attention. Start noticing the thoughts that make you feel small. Notice the thoughts that tell you to stay quiet, stay still, or play it safe. Ask, is this thought helping me grow or keeping me stuck? And then decide, consciously, intentionally, whether to keep it or let it go. Most of your mental suffering comes not from reality, but from your thoughts about reality. You imagine the worst. You relive the past. You assume what others think. You jump to conclusions. You create mental movies that never actually happen. And all of that pulls you away from clarity, confidence, and action. If you can master your thinking, you can master your behavior. And if you can master your behavior, you can shape your future. Your ability to pause and challenge your thoughts is what separates progress from regret. People who never question their thoughts become stuck in the same patterns for years. They keep making the same mistakes, feeling the same frustrations, and blaming the world for outcomes they never took responsibility for. But you can break that cycle. You can learn to think differently. You can train your mind to become a tool for clarity, not confusion. It starts with a simple question: is this thought true? Then follow it with more. How do I know? What am I missing? What other angle can I see this from? If someone else had this thought, what would I tell them? These questions are not just mental exercises, they are a way of living, a way of thinking that creates strength, wisdom, and self-leadership. No one else can think for you. No one else can filter your thoughts. That job is yours. And if you take that job seriously, your life will change. You will stop rushing into bad decisions. You will stop doubting yourself when you're on the right path. You will stop arguing over things that don't matter. You will stop carrying emotional weight from misunderstandings that could have been resolved with a moment of reflection. Thinking clearly is a daily discipline. It doesn't happen once. It happens over and over again. Every situation, every challenge, every conflict is a chance to pause and think better. You don't need to control every thought. That's not possible. Thoughts will always come, some helpful, some not. But you do need to become skilled at filtering them, at asking better questions, at choosing which thoughts to believe and which ones to release. This is how you create freedom. Not freedom from difficulty, but freedom from mental chaos. When you know how to question your thoughts, you stop being a prisoner of your mind. You stop reacting to every emotional wave. You stop sabotaging your own growth. You start living with intention, with strength, with peace. No one taught you how to think. They taught you what to think. They filled your mind with beliefs, rules, fears, and expectations. But now you get to decide what stays. Now you get to build a mind that works for you, not against you. Start with this truth. Not every thought deserves your trust. Before you speak, pause. Before you act, pause. Before you believe, pause. And in that space, question, reflect, choose. This one habit, done consistently, can sharpen your clarity, deepen your wisdom, and elevate your life in every direction. Your future self will thank you, not for being perfect, but for learning to think with intention. That is where real change begins. Chapter 2. Challenge your opinions with honest self-reflection daily. Most people build their opinions from their upbringing, their environment, and their emotions. They accept these opinions as truth and carry them for years without ever asking where they came from or if they still make sense. That's where personal growth gets stuck. If you never challenge your own opinions, you will never outgrow your past, and you will never see the world with clarity. Real change begins with self-reflection, honest, consistent, and uncomfortable self-reflection. It's not something you do once in a while. It's something you must do daily if you want to think better, decide better, and live better. Every day your mind gives you opinions. You have thoughts about what's right and wrong, what's possible and impossible, what's fair and unfair, what others deserve, and what you deserve. You have opinions about people, about success, about relationships, about money, about failure. And while some of those opinions might be grounded in experience, many are simply untested beliefs formed long ago and never updated. If you never take the time to reflect on your opinions, you end up living a life that's built on assumptions. You limit your opportunities, misjudge people, and react to situations based on outdated thinking. You might think you're being rational, but in reality, you're just being familiar. Familiar is not the same as wise. Self-reflection is the discipline of stepping back from your automatic thinking and asking the hard questions. It's about being willing to sit with yourself without distraction and examine what you believe and why you believe it. It's about being courageous enough to say, maybe I've been wrong about this, and humble enough to grow beyond it. It's easy to judge the world. It's easy to blame others. It's easy to point fingers and say they don't understand or they're the problem. But it takes strength to turn that finger around and ask, what do I need to see more clearly? What am I not admitting to myself? What truth am I avoiding because it's uncomfortable? That's the real work, and that's where mental sharpness is built. Opinions are not facts. They are thoughts shaped by bias, emotion, fear, memory, and limited perspective. You don't see the world as it is, you see it as you are, and unless you learn to reflect honestly, you will continue seeing life through the same narrow lens. The goal is not to have no opinions. The goal is to have opinions that have been tested by truth and reflection. The goal is to have beliefs that you've examined deeply, not just inherited or repeated. This is how real growth happens, not by adding more knowledge, but by unlearning what no longer serves your progress. Ask yourself, what do I believe that's holding me back? Maybe you believe that success is only for other people. Maybe you believe that you're not smart enough or talented enough. Maybe you believe that people can't change or that failure is final. Where did these opinions come from? Are they based on your current reality or past pain? Do they still make sense now that you've evolved? Most people don't challenge their opinions because they're afraid of being wrong. But growth requires being wrong. Being wrong means you've learned something new. Being wrong means you've opened your mind to a better way. Being wrong means you're not stuck in the same patterns. Honest self-reflection is not about shaming yourself, it's about understanding yourself. It's about being deeply curious about your thoughts and beliefs and having the discipline to ask, why do I think this way? It's about catching yourself in the moment when your opinion is leading you down a path that doesn't align with your values, your goals, or your best self. You can't improve what you don't examine, and you can't examine what you're afraid to face. If you reflect daily, you will begin to see which of your opinions are rooted in truth and which are just emotional reactions dressed up as facts. You will begin to see the difference between a belief that helps you grow and a belief that keeps you small, and once you see that, you have the power to change it. Think about a time when you held an opinion strongly, only to realize later that you were wrong. Maybe you judged someone too quickly. Maybe you believed something negative about yourself that turned out to be untrue. Maybe you dismissed an opportunity because you assumed it wouldn't work. What if you had reflected sooner? What if you had paused and challenged that opinion instead of trusting it? That's the lesson. Every opinion needs to be tested before it's trusted. One of the most powerful questions you can ask yourself every day is, what am I wrong about right now? That question opens the door to growth. It forces your ego to step aside. It creates space for new learning, for new perspective, for new truth. If you ask it honestly, you will start to see where your opinions are limiting your life. Most people avoid this because it's uncomfortable. It's easier to feel right than to feel uncertain. But personal development isn't supposed to be comfortable. It's supposed to wake you up. It's supposed to stretch your thinking and reveal the blind spots you've ignored for years. The more honest you are with yourself, the clearer your thinking becomes. You'll stop making decisions based on insecurity or pride. You'll stop defending opinions that don't serve your future. You'll begin to operate from truth, not ego. This is especially important when dealing with conflict, criticism, or failure. In those moments, your mind will offer opinions designed to protect your pride. It will say things like, they don't understand me, or that wasn't my fault, or I'm not meant for this. But self-reflection allows you to interrupt those thoughts and ask, is that really true? Or is that just my mind trying to protect me from discomfort? That single pause can change everything. It can help you respond with maturity instead of defensiveness. It can help you find the lesson in the failure. It can help you see the feedback as useful instead of personal. It can help you grow when most people would shut down. The stronger your opinions, the more often you need to reflect. Because strong opinions often feel like truth, even when they're not. And the more attached you are to being right, the more likely you are to miss the opportunity to grow. Let go of the need to always be right. Focus instead on being wise. Wisdom comes from asking better questions, from being open to change, from examining your beliefs even when it's uncomfortable. Make self-reflection a daily ritual. Set aside time, even just 10 minutes, to sit quietly and review your day. Ask, what did I think today that may not be true? Where did I judge too quickly? Where did I hold a strong opinion that needs more reflection? What emotional reactions clouded my thinking today? Write down your answers. Don't rush the process. This is not about getting it perfect. It's about getting it honest. The more consistently you do this, the sharper your mind becomes. You'll start to notice the difference between emotion and insight. You'll start to catch yourself in the middle of a reactive opinion and choose a better thought. You'll begin to live with greater clarity, calmness, and confidence. Remember, the mind is not fixed. You are not stuck with the thoughts you have now. You can train your mind to think better, to see deeper, to choose wiser paths. But that training begins with daily self-reflection. You don't need a life crisis to change your thinking. You don't need a dramatic wake-up call. All you need is the discipline to look within, to be curious about your mind, and to be honest about what you find. That's what separates those who grow from those who stay the same. Most people look for answers outside of themselves. They search for new strategies, new tools, new advice. But the most powerful breakthroughs often come from within, from sitting with your thoughts, asking the hard questions, and being willing to change your mind when you see the truth. That takes courage, that takes maturity, that takes the kind of self-leadership that turns you into a person of depth, character, and wisdom. So today and every day, challenge your opinions, question the thoughts you act on, reflect on your reactions, and above all, stay honest with yourself, even when it hurts. Because that honesty will build the foundation for every breakthrough that follows. Chapter 3. Break your assumptions by asking deeper questions. Always, the way we navigate the world, make decisions, and interact with others is often guided by assumptions. These are the mental shortcuts we take, the conclusions we draw before we have all the facts. We don't even realize we're doing it because our brains are designed to find patterns quickly, to categorize experiences and people in an effort to make sense of the world. But in doing so, we build walls around our thinking, walls that limit our potential, our understanding, and ultimately, our success. Assumptions are not inherently bad. They can help us move through life efficiently. For instance, assuming someone you meet in a professional context is trustworthy, or assuming that a job offer will come through based on a solid interview, are assumptions that help us act confidently and decisively. But when assumptions go unchecked, they can cause us to miss critical details, overlook better opportunities, and make decisions that lead us down the wrong path. It's easy to assume. In fact, our minds love it. It gives us comfort and helps us feel in control. But the real challenge, and the key to unlocking deeper thinking, is to break our assumptions by asking deeper questions. In doing so, we begin to peel back layers of simplicity and approach the world with more openness, curiosity, and understanding. It's only through breaking our assumptions that we can see things more clearly and ultimately make better decisions. The problem with assumptions is that they keep us stuck in the same place. Once we assume something about a situation, a person, or an outcome, we stop looking for alternatives. Our mind closes itself to possibilities and settles on a single, often narrow viewpoint. This is especially dangerous when it comes to important decisions or relationships. We don't leave room for the unknown, the unexplored, or the potentially transformative idea that could be hidden beneath the surface. To truly break your assumptions, you must cultivate the habit of asking deeper questions. It requires discipline, patience, and a willingness to challenge your own thinking. You can't just ask surface-level questions like, "What's the next step?" or "How do I feel about this?" These questions are easy and comfortable, but they don't lead to true growth. Instead, ask questions like, "Why am I thinking this way? What am I missing? What are the alternative perspectives I haven't considered? What would happen if I didn't assume this was true?" These questions force you to dig beneath the surface and uncover new layers of understanding. Let's take a closer look at how breaking assumptions through deeper questioning can radically change the way you live and think. First, you must recognize your assumptions. They show up in small, everyday situations, but also in major life decisions. You may assume that people in positions of power are out to get you. You may assume that your skills are limited to your current job and never think to expand beyond it. You may assume that failure is a reflection of your abilities and not the result of temporary circumstances. These assumptions are often rooted in past experiences or fears, but they do not define your present reality. The first step to breaking assumptions is to acknowledge them. Begin by paying attention to your automatic thoughts. What do you assume about yourself, about others, about the world around you? What patterns of thinking keep you stuck in the same spot, unable to move forward? These assumptions are not truths. They are simply beliefs based on limited information. Once you've identified your assumptions, begin to challenge them. Don't let them control your behavior or decision-making. Instead of accepting them as gospel, ask yourself, is this assumption actually true? What evidence do I have that supports this assumption? What would happen if I chose not to believe this? For example, if you assume that your current job is the only career path you can pursue, ask yourself why you believe that. Is it because you've always been told that this is the way it works? Is it because you've never considered an alternative? Challenge that assumption by asking, what if there is another path I haven't considered? What if I could pivot and pursue something that excites me? Another common assumption is assuming that people behave in certain ways because of their personalities. We often judge people based on our past experiences or biases and assume they are motivated by the same things we would be. But asking deeper questions helps us see the bigger picture. Instead of assuming someone is being rude, ask yourself, what might be going on in their life that is causing them to act this way? What are they really trying to communicate, and how can I respond more effectively? These questions open up the possibility of empathy and understanding, transforming potential conflicts into opportunities for connection. Breaking assumptions also requires challenging your own belief systems. We often assume that we know the right way to approach every situation, but this limited perspective can hold us back. For instance, you might assume that success only comes through long hours of work, but what if there's a smarter, more balanced way to achieve success? Ask yourself, is there another way to approach this that might be more efficient or fulfilling? These kinds of questions force you to think critically and challenge your own fixed beliefs, helping you grow both personally and professionally. The key to breaking assumptions is not to do it just once, but to make it a habit. Ask deeper questions every day. When you encounter a situation or a person that triggers your automatic assumptions, pause and take a step back. Reflect on what you're assuming, and ask yourself, what if I'm wrong? Then dig deeper. Seek out alternative explanations and ask yourself how you can adjust your approach based on new information. Consider a common situation where assumptions often arise meeting someone for the first time. It's easy to assume things about them based on their appearance, their mannerisms, or your past experiences with similar people. But if you ask deeper questions, you might learn that your initial assumptions are inaccurate. You might discover that someone you thought was aloof is actually shy or nervous. You might find that someone you assumed shared your values has a completely different perspective that challenges your own. These insights don't come from surface-level judgments, they come from asking deeper questions and being open to what you don't know. The more you practice asking deeper questions, the better you'll become at seeing things from multiple angles. You'll stop taking things at face value and start looking for the complexities beneath the surface. You'll begin to see opportunities where others see obstacles and find solutions where others see only problems. As you work to break your assumptions, remember that the world is constantly evolving, and so should your thinking. What you once assumed to be true may no longer apply in the context of your current life. Keep evolving, keep questioning, and keep searching for deeper truths. Life will continuously present you with new challenges, new perspectives, and new information. Don't be content to rest on your assumptions. Keep asking, keep exploring, and keep seeking. It's this commitment to curiosity that will lead to profound personal growth, better decision-making, and ultimately greater success. The most transformative thing you can do for yourself is to break free from the assumptions that limit your vision. Challenge yourself daily to dig deeper, question your beliefs, and see the world through a wider lens. This practice will not only expand your mind, but will set you on a path to discovering more about yourself and the world around you than you ever thought possible. Keep asking the questions that lead you to answers you never imagined, and with each answer, keep asking again. The deeper you go, the more you'll discover, and the more you discover, the more you'll grow. Chapter 4. Slow down and think before you respond instantly. In our fast-paced world, responding instantly has become a reflex. From texting, emails, and social media to conversations at work or with loved ones, there's a pressure to reply quickly. It feels like a measure of productivity or intelligence. The faster you respond, the more engaged and efficient you appear. But in reality, this habit can often lead us down a path of miscommunication, hasty decisions, and missed opportunities for deeper understanding. Imagine you're in a heated conversation. Someone says something that triggers a strong emotional reaction within you. Maybe they make a point you disagree with, or perhaps something they say challenges your values. Instantly, the desire to respond emerges. Your mind races to formulate a counter-argument, a defense. It feels urgent. It feels like you must reply now, and so you respond. But what if you had taken a moment to slow down and think before you responded? What if, instead of reacting immediately, you gave yourself time to breathe, to process, and to choose your words more carefully? How much more effective could your communication be, and how much better could your decisions be if you allowed yourself the space to think first? The truth is, slowing down is not a sign of weakness or hesitation. It's a powerful tool for strengthening your thinking and improving your outcomes. When you think before you respond, you're not only giving yourself time to process the information more clearly, but you're also allowing yourself the opportunity to choose how you want to react. You're exercising control over your emotions and decisions, rather than being controlled by them. The space between stimulus and response is where true power lies. A pause before responding offers you the chance to step back and assess the situation objectively. You can ask yourself, what exactly is being said here? What is my immediate emotional reaction telling me, and is that reaction serving me? When we respond instantly, we often act out of emotion rather than logic. We make decisions based on how something makes us feel in the moment, rather than evaluating the long-term impact or considering the other person's perspective. Slowing down and thinking before responding helps you engage with the situation in a much more balanced way. It enables you to take the emotion out of the equation and approach the problem with clarity. You can start by consciously creating space for reflection. That might mean taking a few seconds to breathe before replying, or even asking for time to consider a response thoughtfully. In a conversation, for instance, instead of jumping to defend yourself, you can ask a clarifying question to ensure you fully understand the other person's point of view. This also gives you the opportunity to pause and think about your response before diving in. In moments of high stress or conflict, it can be tempting to respond quickly with something defensive or reactive. But consider the consequences of such actions. A sharp, hasty reply may create tension, damage relationships, or derail an otherwise productive conversation. When you slow down, you are less likely to say something you regret, and you create space for empathy, understanding, and productive dialogue. The longer you hold back your immediate reactions, the more you open the door to thoughtful, impactful responses that can steer the conversation toward a solution. In today's digital age, where communication often happens in a flash, we may think we have to reply to every message, every notification, immediately. Yet, consider the impact of responding too quickly in the context of a text or email. A hurried message may not convey the nuance or tone you intend, leaving room for misunderstanding. If you slow down and choose your words more carefully, you can ensure that your communication is clear, concise, and considerate. Taking a moment to think also helps you respond more effectively in decision-making situations. For example, when faced with a difficult decision at work or in your personal life, it's easy to make a snap judgment. Perhaps you feel pressure to decide quickly to avoid conflict or to meet an expectation. But those rushed decisions are often made without considering all the facts, alternative options, or potential consequences. By slowing down and thinking, you can ask yourself more thoughtful questions like, what are the long-term implications of this choice? What options am I overlooking? Am I making this decision based on fear or clear reasoning? These questions allow you to approach decisions with a level head and make more informed, balanced choices. The idea of slowing down can also be applied to how we react to setbacks or challenges. It's all too easy to become frustrated or overwhelmed when things don't go according to plan. In those moments, it's crucial to pause and think rather than acting out of frustration. Taking a step back gives you the opportunity to regroup, assess the situation, and choose a better course of action. In fact, one of the greatest tools in overcoming adversity is taking a breath and reminding yourself that you don't need to have all the answers right away. This habit of slowing down can even help you build stronger, more positive relationships with others. When you take your time to respond, you are showing the other person that you value their words and are willing to listen attentively. People feel respected when you take the time to hear them out and give a thoughtful reply. It fosters a sense of trust and open communication, which is essential in both personal and professional relationships. Let's look at an example. Imagine you're in a work meeting where your manager gives feedback that you find unfair or overly critical. The natural instinct might be to respond quickly, defend your position, or argue your case. But if you take a moment to breathe, process, and reflect on the feedback, you give yourself the opportunity to assess the situation more clearly. Perhaps your manager has a point, or maybe they were just having a bad day. By slowing down, you can decide whether it's worth defending yourself, whether to ask for clarification, or whether it's better to simply listen and take the feedback into consideration for future improvement. Another example might involve a disagreement with a friend or family member. Instead of snapping back with a defensive response, take a moment to understand their perspective. A simple pause can allow you to access a more empathetic response, leading to a more meaningful conversation and likely a healthier resolution. The space between the stimulus, the argument, and your response gives you the chance to choose how you want to engage. Now let's address the challenge that many of us face in slowing down impatience. In a world that demands instant gratification, it's difficult to embrace the idea of slowing down. We're conditioned to think that speed equals success, that the faster we act, the better we'll perform. But in many situations, slowing down actually leads to better results. Whether it's in conversations, decisions, or problem solving, taking your time allows you to think more clearly, assess the situation from multiple angles, and make better informed choices. One of the best ways to practice slowing down is to introduce small pauses into your daily routine. Start with something simple, like pausing before answering an email, or taking a few seconds to breathe before responding to a text message. During a conversation, take a deliberate pause before responding to ensure that you are processing what's being said and not reacting impulsively. As you become more comfortable with these pauses, you'll notice that you're making more thoughtful decisions, having more meaningful conversations, and reacting to situations with greater clarity and calmness. Slowing down is not about being passive or indecisive. It's about being deliberate and intentional in your actions. It's about gaining control over your reactions, ensuring that you're not simply acting on impulse, but instead making choices that are aligned with your values and long-term goals. It's about living consciously and thoughtfully, rather than mindlessly reacting to the events around you. So the next time you feel the urge to respond instantly, whether in a conversation, a decision, or a moment of stress, take a breath, slow down, think, and then act. In doing so, you'll find that your responses are more measured, more meaningful, and ultimately more successful. By making the conscious choice to slow down, you're not only improving your critical thinking skills, but you're also enhancing your ability to navigate life with intention, purpose, and control. Chapter 5. Write your thoughts and examine them with clarity. The mind is a complex landscape. It holds thoughts, ideas, emotions, beliefs, and dreams all at once, sometimes creating a jumble of information that can feel overwhelming. Yet, despite this constant flow, most of us spend little time actually examining the thoughts that drive our actions and decisions. We let them swirl in our minds, sometimes unchecked, leading us to make decisions based on fleeting emotions or unfounded assumptions. Writing your thoughts down is a practice that has the power to untangle that internal chaos. When you put your thoughts on paper, they shift from being intangible ideas to something you can hold, scrutinize, and analyze with clarity. It is an act that grounds your thinking and helps you gain perspective, turning abstract ideas into concrete reflections. By examining your thoughts through writing, you not only become more self-aware, but you also gain the ability to shape and direct your life with greater intention. In a world filled with distractions and constant input, it's easy to forget how valuable our own thoughts can be. We often react to the world around us without pausing to assess the beliefs and assumptions that underlie our decisions. When we write our thoughts, we give ourselves the chance to step back and look at them from a different perspective. We can see if they make sense, if they align with our values, and if they are truly serving us. Writing allows us to take ownership of our thought processes, creating an opportunity for deeper understanding and growth. The act of writing is a tool for introspection. It is a method of slowing down and organizing your internal world. When you write, you can capture the fleeting thoughts that pass through your mind throughout the day. These might be ideas about your goals, feelings about a particular situation, or even worries about the future. When these thoughts are left to float in your mind without any attention, they often remain unexamined and can sometimes become distorted or exaggerated. Writing them down gives them a place to rest, where you can revisit them and reflect on their validity. A key benefit of writing your thoughts is the ability to see them from a clearer perspective. Thoughts, when held inside your mind, can often feel overwhelming as they are constantly shifting and changing. But once you commit them to paper, you can step back and view them as a whole. This is where clarity begins. By writing your thoughts, you allow yourself to slow down and assess their quality. You can separate truth from assumption, feeling from logic, and fact from fiction. In doing so, you begin to distinguish between the thoughts that serve you and those that hold you back. For example, if you're feeling anxious about an upcoming event or decision, writing down your thoughts can help you pinpoint the root cause of that anxiety. Maybe you've been imagining the worst-case scenario, or perhaps you've allowed self-doubt to cloud your judgment. By putting your thoughts on paper, you can identify patterns or recurring themes that contribute to your unease. Once you recognize them, you can challenge those thoughts and replace them with more rational, constructive perspectives. Furthermore, writing offers a unique opportunity for self-discovery. As you put pen to paper, you may uncover insights about yourself that you were previously unaware of. For instance, you might realize that a recurring thought in your life is holding you back from taking action, or that you've been operating under an assumption that no longer serves you. These revelations are crucial because they provide the clarity needed to make more informed choices about your future. There is also a therapeutic quality to writing. It offers an outlet for emotional expression that allows you to release built-up tension. When you feel frustrated, overwhelmed, or confused, writing provides a safe space to unload those emotions. It allows you to process difficult feelings without the pressure of having to explain them to someone else. This act of emotional release can lighten your mental load and bring a sense of relief. It's a practice that doesn't require judgment or perfection. It simply invites you to express yourself authentically. The process of writing is also an excellent way to strengthen your critical thinking skills. As you write down your thoughts, you are forced to organize them and make sense of them. This requires a deeper level of thinking, as you must actively evaluate your own beliefs and opinions. Writing forces you to slow down and examine the reasoning behind your thoughts, challenging you to question whether your beliefs are based on solid evidence or assumptions. This is particularly valuable in decision-making. When faced with a difficult choice, it can be easy to get caught up in emotions or external pressures, leading to decisions that may not align with your true desires. Writing allows you to break down the decision-making process into smaller, more manageable steps. You can list the pros and cons, weigh the potential outcomes, and explore how each choice fits into your long-term goals. By doing this, you gain a clearer understanding of the best course of action, free from the noise of outside influences. As you become more accustomed to writing your thoughts, you will begin to notice how much clarity it brings to your life. Decisions that once felt daunting or confusing become easier to navigate as you develop a more grounded understanding of your own desires, motivations, and fears. Writing helps you tune into your own inner wisdom, which can often be drowned out by the distractions of daily life. Through writing, you reclaim your ability to think critically, make informed choices, and act with confidence. Another powerful aspect of writing is its ability to help you track your progress over time. By revisiting past writings, you can observe how your thoughts and perspectives have evolved. You might find that the concerns you once had no longer hold any weight, or that you've made progress in areas you hadn't noticed. This process of looking back can be incredibly motivating, as it reminds you of how far you've come and reinforces the idea that growth is a continual journey. Writing your thoughts also allows you to keep a record of your dreams and aspirations. By jotting down your goals and reflecting on them regularly, you create a clear roadmap for your future. You can track your progress, identify obstacles, and adjust your approach as needed. This process gives your dreams a sense of direction and purpose, helping you stay focused on what matters most to you. The act of writing is not just a tool for reflection, but a catalyst for action. When you write down your goals, you take the first step toward achieving them. The simple act of writing something down makes it more tangible, more real. It holds you accountable and serves as a constant reminder of what you're working toward. Writing transforms your aspirations from abstract thoughts into concrete plans, making them more achievable. Additionally, writing gives you the chance to prioritize what matters most. In a world filled with distractions, it's easy to lose sight of your core values and goals. By regularly writing down your thoughts and reviewing them, you ensure that you stay aligned with your true purpose. You are able to separate the noise from what truly matters and focus your energy on the things that will bring you the most fulfillment. The process of examining your thoughts through writing helps you become more mindful of your mental landscape. It encourages you to be intentional about your thinking and to consider how your thoughts influence your actions. Writing provides a moment of pause in a busy world, allowing you to reflect on where you are, where you've been, and where you want to go. As you continue to write, you will notice how much clearer your thoughts become. What once felt like a blur of disconnected ideas now takes shape as a coherent narrative. By examining your thoughts with clarity, you gain insight into your true desires, your values, and your potential. You begin to understand the power of your mind and realize that you are the author of your own story. Writing is not just an exercise in self-reflection, it's an act of self-empowerment. It helps you take control of your life, one thought at a time, and guides you toward the future you want to create. Ultimately, writing your thoughts is a practice that can transform the way you live. It invites you to slow down, reflect, and make decisions with purpose. It brings clarity to confusion, insight to uncertainty, and peace to chaos. Writing allows you to unlock your true potential and become more aligned with the person you are meant to be. It is not just about the words on the page, it's about the deeper understanding you gain of yourself and the world around you. Through writing, you create the space to examine your thoughts with clarity and take intentional steps toward the life you desire. Chapter 6. Learn from people who think better than you to truly elevate your thinking and decision-making. One of the most impactful actions you can take is to learn from those who think better than you. This does not simply mean following the advice of people with more experience or expertise. It means seeking out individuals who challenge your perspective, introduce new frameworks for understanding, and inspire you to think more critically and creatively. By surrounding yourself with people who push you to elevate your cognitive abilities, you will begin to see the world with sharper clarity and gain a deeper understanding of how to navigate it with precision. The first step in learning from others is acknowledging that your thinking may be limited by your current experiences, biases, and assumptions. No matter how much you think you know, there is always room for improvement. The most successful individuals understand that learning is an ongoing process. They don't rest on their knowledge, but actively seek opportunities to expand it. It is easy to fall into the trap of thinking that your way of understanding the world is the best or only way. But when you open yourself up to the idea that there are other, potentially better ways of thinking, you unlock a world of possibilities. This means actively seeking out individuals who think at a higher level, people whose perspectives challenge your own assumptions and encourage you to question your beliefs. These individuals could be mentors, thought leaders, professionals in your field, or even people from different walks of life with unique experiences. Their ability to think critically, deeply, and differently offers an invaluable opportunity for growth. You don't need to agree with everything they say, but by listening to their ideas and understanding their thought processes, you can learn to broaden your own way of thinking. Think about the most successful individuals you know, whether they're entrepreneurs, educators, or industry leaders. What sets them apart from others? One key factor is that they are constantly refining their thinking. They don't simply accept ideas at face value, they dissect them, analyze them, and challenge them. They surround themselves with people who offer different viewpoints and are not afraid to offer constructive criticism. This intellectual openness is essential for growth because it forces them to re-evaluate their assumptions and adapt when necessary. They learn from others who challenge them to think better, and in doing so, they continually raise the bar for themselves and their work. For instance, in any industry, there are leaders who set trends and redefine standards. These leaders often have one thing in common: they don't work in isolation. They surround themselves with a network of talented people who offer alternative perspectives, unique solutions to problems, and innovative ideas. They are receptive to new information, not because they are insecure in their own abilities, but because they recognize that thinking is not static. It evolves, and the best way to stay ahead is by learning from others who have the capacity to think outside the box. Learning from people who think better than you is not just about passively receiving information. It's about engaging with their ideas and using them as a springboard for your own thinking. You should challenge their perspectives, question their reasoning, and consider how their insights fit into your own worldview. This intellectual engagement is the key to developing your own critical thinking skills. When you allow yourself to be challenged and stretched, you begin to see the world through a wider lens. Your thinking becomes more nuanced, more sophisticated, and more adaptable to change. One way to learn from others is through reading books, articles, and research papers written by thought leaders in your field or in areas you wish to improve. The power of reading cannot be overstated, as it exposes you to new ways of thinking, new concepts, and different problem-solving techniques. However, reading alone is not enough. It's not enough to simply absorb information. You need to actively engage with it. As you read, ask yourself questions. What is the author trying to convey? Do you agree with their conclusions? Why or why not? How does this new information challenge your current thinking, and what can you learn from it? In addition to reading, you should also seek out conversations with people who think better than you. Engage in meaningful discussions, attend seminars or webinars, and participate in forums where ideas are exchanged. The act of talking through ideas with others allows you to refine your thinking and see things from multiple perspectives. These conversations may sometimes be uncomfortable or challenging, but they are also the most fruitful. They force you to confront your own biases, assumptions, and limitations, and in doing so, they create an environment where your thinking can evolve. Mentorship is another powerful way to learn from individuals who think at a higher level. A good mentor doesn't just give you the answers, they challenge you to find them on your own. They ask you questions that make you dig deeper, think critically, and reconsider your approach. A mentor's guidance is invaluable because it encourages you to push beyond your comfort zone, break free from limiting beliefs, and develop a more expansive view of what is possible. Through mentorship, you gain insight not only into what to do, but also into how to think in order to navigate challenges with wisdom and clarity. It's also important to recognize that learning from others who think better than you requires humility. It means admitting that you don't have all the answers and being open to receiving feedback. This is often one of the hardest parts of personal growth, acknowledging that you are not the expert in every area. However, once you accept this fact, you free yourself from the constraints of ego and open yourself up to a wealth of knowledge and insight. Humility is the key that unlocks the door to growth, because it enables you to learn from others without resistance or defensiveness. Another key aspect of learning from those who think better than you is being willing to make mistakes and learn from them. The best thinkers are not afraid to fail. They embrace failure as a part of the learning process. When you fail, you gain insight into what works and what doesn't. You refine your thinking, adjust your strategies, and continue to move forward. It's in the trial and error of life that we learn the most. And when you surround yourself with people who have already made mistakes and learn from them, you gain the benefit of their experience without having to go through the same trials yourself. The beauty of learning from others who think better than you is that it accelerates your growth. It saves you time by helping you avoid common mistakes, and it opens your mind to new ideas and ways of approaching problems. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. Instead, you can take the lessons others have learned and build upon them. The result is faster progress, more informed decisions, and a deeper understanding of the world around you. As you continue to learn from people who think better than you will start to notice a shift in your own thinking. You will become more discerning, more strategic, and more aware of the nuances in any given situation. Your decision-making will become sharper, and your ability to solve problems will improve. You'll also begin to develop a deeper sense of confidence because you will trust in your own capacity to think critically and act wisely. It is important to note that learning from others is not a one-time event, but a continuous process. The world is constantly changing, and the best thinkers are always evolving. To stay ahead, you must be willing to learn, adapt, and grow in tandem with the ever-shifting landscape of knowledge and ideas. When you commit to learning from those who think better than you embark on a lifelong journey of intellectual growth and self-improvement. This journey will not only improve your decision-making and problem-solving abilities, but also help you cultivate a mindset that is always seeking improvement, always striving for better. By seeking out people who challenge you to think differently, you enrich your own intellectual landscape. You learn to approach problems from various angles, ask better questions, and develop deeper insights. As you continue this process, your ability to think critically and effectively will become second nature. You will be better equipped to handle the challenges of life, make informed decisions, and contribute to the world in meaningful ways. The key is to remain open, humble, and willing to learn from those who think better than you, for in doing so, you unlock your own potential for greatness. Chapter 7. Listen fully, without interrupting or forming quick judgments. Listening is one of the most powerful skills you can develop, yet it is often overlooked. Too many of us hear what others say without truly absorbing it. We are so focused on our response that we don't give the speaker the attention they deserve. This is where the true power of listening lies, when we can fully absorb what someone is saying without interrupting or forming judgments too quickly. We not only build better relationships, but also gain deeper insights into the world around us. When we listen without interrupting, we allow the speaker to express their thoughts freely. Too often in conversations, people cut others off because they are eager to respond. They may think they have the answer, or they simply want to share their own thoughts. However, in doing so, they miss valuable pieces of the conversation. By interrupting, we may prevent the speaker from finishing their thought and could potentially overlook crucial details that would have otherwise enriched our understanding of the topic at hand. Listening fully means giving the other person the space to communicate their ideas in their entirety. It requires patience and a willingness to quiet your own thoughts long enough to take in what is being said. This is not a passive process. It demands your full presence. You must be engaged with the person speaking, not only with your ears, but also with your mind and heart. This kind of listening shows respect for the other person and for the value of their message. It means you're not just hearing words, but you're attempting to understand their meaning, context, and the feelings behind them. Listening without forming quick judgments is just as crucial. Often, when someone begins speaking, we rush to form an opinion about what they are saying. We might agree, disagree, or even decide that their perspective doesn't matter before they've finished speaking. This kind of judgmental listening can cloud our ability to hear the truth. It stops us from truly understanding the speaker's point of view and prevents us from learning from them. When we judge too quickly, we close off the possibility of gaining new knowledge, insights, and perspectives. The key to avoiding quick judgments is to remain open-minded. You must recognize that your own perspective is just one of many, and by listening without forming judgments, you make room for a broader understanding of the situation. You allow the speaker to present their ideas in full, which often leads to discovering nuances that you might have missed if you had reacted immediately. It also creates an atmosphere of respect, where the other person feels valued and heard, which strengthens relationships and fosters better communication. One of the benefits of listening without interrupting and without judgment is that it helps you gain a deeper understanding of the situation. Whether you are in a business meeting, a personal conversation, or a group discussion, absorbing all the information fully allows you to make more informed decisions. When you understand the speaker's perspective in its entirety, you can respond more thoughtfully. Instead of rushing to give an opinion, you take the time to process what was said and how it aligns with your own knowledge and experience. This leads to more meaningful and productive conversations. Think about times when you've had a conversation where someone truly listened to you. They didn't interrupt, they didn't immediately offer solutions or counter-arguments, and they didn't rush you to finish speaking. You probably felt valued and understood. In turn, you may have felt more open to their insights or advice. This is the power of listening fully. It creates an environment of trust and mutual respect, which makes it easier to communicate honestly and openly. The same goes for when you are the listener. When you allow someone to express themselves without judgment, you create a space for authentic dialogue. Moreover, listening without interrupting allows you to learn more from the other person. Sometimes, people hold back their full thoughts out of fear of being interrupted. When you let someone speak freely, they are more likely to share their true feelings, ideas, and experiences. This creates opportunities for deeper understanding and personal growth. By practicing active, non-judgmental listening, you position yourself to learn from the wisdom of others. This skill is particularly useful in problem-solving situations. When you listen attentively and without judgment, you are better able to understand the root cause of an issue. By hearing all sides of the situation and considering various perspectives, you can develop more effective solutions. This is especially true in professional environments, where complex challenges often require collaboration and input from diverse viewpoints. Listening fully, without interrupting, allows you to gather the necessary information to tackle these challenges head-on. In addition, when you listen without judgment, you avoid the trap of jumping to conclusions. In any situation, it's easy to assume we know the answer or that we already understand what someone is trying to say. However, by taking the time to listen fully, we open ourselves up to new possibilities. We may discover that our initial assumptions were wrong or incomplete. This flexibility in our thinking allows us to make better decisions and avoid misjudgments that can lead to unnecessary conflict or mistakes. There is also a psychological benefit to listening with full attention and without judgment. It can help you manage your own emotions and reactions. Often, we interrupt or form judgments because we're emotionally triggered by what the other person is saying. We might feel defensive or frustrated, and in that moment, our instinct is to react. However, when we consciously choose to listen without interrupting and without making quick judgments, we give ourselves the time to process our own feelings before reacting. This can help us respond more calmly and thoughtfully, rather than allowing our emotions to dictate our actions. Listening without interrupting also shows emotional intelligence. It demonstrates that you have the self-control to hold back your reactions, the empathy to understand where the other person is coming from, and the patience to wait for them to finish speaking. Emotional intelligence is a key component of effective communication, and it can greatly enhance your personal and professional relationships. People who feel heard and respected are more likely to trust you and engage with you honestly. By practicing this kind of listening, you cultivate stronger connections with others and create an environment where open, productive conversations can take place. However, this type of listening does not mean that you agree with everything the other person says. You can listen fully, understand their perspective, and still disagree with them. The difference is that by listening fully, you are better able to understand the reasons behind their viewpoint. This understanding allows you to engage in more thoughtful discussions and find common ground, rather than jumping straight into disagreement. It's also important to recognize that listening fully does not mean you have to agree with everything that is said. You may hear something that challenges your beliefs or even frustrates you, but instead of responding impulsively, you choose to take a moment to process it. This pause allows you to approach the conversation from a place of respect and understanding, which leads to more constructive dialogue. When you allow yourself the space to listen without reacting immediately, you can engage in a more meaningful exchange of ideas. In many ways, the act of listening fully can be seen as an act of self-discipline. It requires you to resist the urge to immediately respond, to silence the internal chatter in your mind, and to focus all your attention on the person speaking. This practice helps you become more present in the moment and more aware of the subtleties of the conversation. By practicing this discipline regularly, you strengthen your ability to manage your thoughts, emotions, and reactions in a variety of situations. In today's fast-paced world, we often feel the pressure to respond immediately, to always have an answer, or to quickly resolve an issue. However, taking the time to listen fully and resist the urge to interrupt or judge allows you to break free from this cycle. It gives you the opportunity to truly engage with others, to understand them on a deeper level, and to make more informed decisions. By mastering the art of listening without interruption or judgment, you become a more effective communicator and a more thoughtful, empathetic person. Listening fully requires patience, discipline, and a genuine interest in understanding others. But the rewards are immense. You build stronger relationships, learn more from those around you, and gain a deeper understanding of the world. In a world where people often talk past each other, the ability to listen fully and attentively is a rare and valuable skill. By embracing it, you can unlock the potential for more meaningful conversations, deeper connections, and wiser decision-making. Chapter 8. Separate facts from emotions in every hard situation. In every difficult situation, there's a powerful skill you can develop that will drastically change how you respond. That skill is the ability to separate facts from emotions. When you're faced with adversity or challenges, your emotions are often the loudest voice in the room. They can cloud your judgment, distort the reality of the situation, and make it difficult to think clearly. By learning to recognize and separate facts from emotions, you position yourself to handle hard situations with clarity, objectivity, and the ability to make better decisions. It's essential to understand that emotions are not inherently bad. They are a natural part of the human experience, and they often signal that something is important to us. Emotions can provide valuable insights into how we feel about a situation, but they should never be the driving force behind our decisions. Emotions can be exaggerated or even misleading, depending on the context and the state of mind we're in. That's why it's so crucial to take a step back and recognize the difference between what's factual and what's emotionally driven. When you face a tough situation, whether in your personal life or at work, the first step is to acknowledge your emotions. This is not about suppressing them or pretending they don't exist, but about acknowledging them without letting them dictate your actions. When you feel anger, fear, frustration, or sadness, those emotions are signaling that something is happening that you care about. However, if you let those feelings take over, you might make decisions that you regret later. Emotions have a way of distorting our perception, making things seem worse than they are, or making us react in ways that are not aligned with our long-term goals. The key is to pause and recognize what is happening inside of you. Take a moment to breathe, to step outside of the situation mentally, and to assess how much of your response is being driven by emotion versus the actual facts of the situation. This practice of self-awareness is the foundation of emotional intelligence. It allows you to see your emotional reactions for what they are, temporary and fluid, instead of allowing them to consume you and guide your decisions. Once you've taken that pause and separated your emotions from the facts, it's time to identify the facts themselves. What is actually happening in the situation? What can you objectively know to be true, and what is being influenced by your emotional state? Facts are grounded in reality. They are things you can verify or observe without judgment. For instance, if you're dealing with a conflict at work, the fact might be that you were given a project with a tight deadline. The emotion, however, might be frustration because the deadline feels impossible to meet. It's important to see the difference between these two. The fact of the situation doesn't change based on how you feel. The deadline is still the same, whether you feel frustrated or not. Emotions, on the other hand, are subjective. They can be fleeting, and they can change as quickly as your perspective shifts. When you recognize this, you can deal with the facts logically, without letting the emotions that come with them cloud your ability to respond effectively. A powerful method to help separate facts from emotions is to ask yourself a few simple questions when you find yourself emotionally charged. Start with what exactly is happening right now, and what can I prove to be true? This helps you return to the present moment and ground yourself in the reality of the situation. After identifying the facts, the next step is to explore how you feel about them. Acknowledging your emotions is vital, but it's equally important not to let those feelings overtake your ability to deal with the situation calmly and logically. Once you've separated the facts from your emotional response, you can make a much clearer and more effective decision about how to move forward. You're no longer reacting impulsively to your emotions. Instead, you're responding to the facts of the situation with a clear mind. When you take the time to separate emotions from facts, you begin to approach challenges with a mindset of problem solving rather than emotional reactivity. In high-pressure situations, this approach can be a game changer. Think about a time when you've been in a heated argument or a tense meeting. It's easy to let emotions take over in those moments. But if you take a step back and identify the facts, you begin to see things with much more clarity. For example, in a conflict with a colleague, the fact might be that there is a disagreement over a project's direction. The emotion might be anger or frustration because you feel your perspective isn't being heard. Once you identify both the facts and the emotions, you can address the issue more effectively. You can focus on solving the problem, the disagreement over the project, rather than letting your emotions dictate how you interact. This ability to separate facts from emotions also helps when it comes to making decisions under stress. Often, when we're under pressure, our emotions run high and our decision-making processes can be skewed. If we act purely out of emotion, we may make rash decisions that we later regret. By focusing on the facts, you give yourself the space to make decisions that are in your best interest, rather than reacting based on fear, anger, or frustration. Separating emotions from facts also applies when you're facing disappointment or failure. It's easy to get overwhelmed by feelings of defeat, guilt, or self-doubt in these moments. However, focusing on the facts allows you to assess the situation with a clearer mind. The fact might be that a project didn't go as planned or that you missed a target. The emotion might be the sense of failure or disappointment. But by focusing on the facts, you can objectively evaluate what went wrong, what you can learn from the experience, and how to adjust your approach going forward. Emotions like disappointment are natural, but they shouldn't dictate how you view the situation or shape your actions. When you focus on the facts, you empower yourself to grow and improve, rather than letting emotions hold you back. There's also a psychological component to separating emotions from facts. It's easy to get stuck in a cycle of negative thinking when we allow emotions to dominate our perception. When we're upset or frustrated, we can convince ourselves that everything is going wrong, or that we're not capable of handling the situation. But by shifting our focus to the facts, we break that cycle of negativity. We begin to see that the situation is not as dire as it may initially seem. Instead of reacting to our emotions, we take control of the narrative and approach the problem in a more constructive way. This practice also extends to how you view your own abilities. Emotions like fear or self-doubt can prevent us from taking risks or pursuing opportunities. But if we focus on the facts, the skills and experience we have, the knowledge we've acquired, we can push past those limiting emotions. The facts show us our capabilities, while emotions like fear try to convince us otherwise. When we learn to separate these two, we can take more confident steps toward growth and success. Another benefit of separating emotions from facts is that it improves your relationships. Whether it's in a romantic relationship, with family members, or at work, we all encounter situations that trigger strong emotions. If you respond to those situations purely based on how you feel, it can lead to misunderstandings, arguments, or unnecessary conflict. But by recognizing the facts of the situation and understanding your emotional response, you can communicate more clearly and resolve issues in a more thoughtful, productive manner. This not only strengthens your relationships, but also helps create an environment of mutual respect and understanding. The ability to separate facts from emotions isn't something that happens overnight. It requires practice and self-awareness. But once you develop this skill, it will transform how you handle difficult situations. You'll find that you respond with greater clarity, confidence, and objectivity. Instead of letting emotions guide your decisions, you'll use the facts to make well-informed choices that align with your values and goals. By separating emotions from facts, you allow yourself the mental space to reflect, assess, and act based on what is truly important. You stop being a slave to your emotional reactions and instead become the master of your own responses. And in doing so, you create a life where your decisions are based on reality, not on the temporary feelings that can cloud your judgment. This practice not only makes you more effective in handling challenges, but also brings a sense of peace and control, even in the most difficult circumstances. Chapter 9. Spot logical errors in your daily thought patterns. Our minds are constantly working, and in the course of our daily lives we often fall into patterns of thinking that are not necessarily rooted in logic. These patterns, while they may feel natural, are often flawed and can lead us to make poor decisions, feel anxious or fearful unnecessarily, and miss opportunities for growth. Recognizing and correcting these logical errors in our thinking is an essential skill to improve both our personal and professional lives. The ability to spot these errors allows us to think more clearly, make better decisions, and live a life that's based on rationality rather than on impulsive, erroneous thought patterns. The first step to spotting logical errors is to understand that we are all prone to them. Our brains are wired to take shortcuts in order to save energy. This is a useful evolutionary trait when we need to make quick decisions for survival, but it can backfire in everyday situations where we have the time to think carefully and logically. These shortcuts, or cognitive biases, often lead us to make judgments based on incomplete information or assumptions that aren't entirely true. This is where the problem lies. If we're not aware of these biases, we may continue to make decisions based on faulty logic. One of the most common logical errors we encounter is confirmation bias. This occurs when we look for information that supports what we already believe, while ignoring information that contradicts our beliefs. It's an easy trap to fall into, especially in today's world of social media and personalized content. We're often surrounded by people and resources that reinforce our current views. Confirmation bias feels comforting because it validates our thoughts and opinions, but it keeps us from seeing the full picture. It limits our ability to grow and develop because we avoid information that could challenge our assumptions. For example, if you believe that a certain career path is the only way to succeed, you might only seek out stories and advice from people who have followed that path. You might disregard or ignore alternative viewpoints that could offer a different perspective on success. By doing this, you close yourself off to opportunities that could be beneficial to your growth and success. Another logical error is the availability heuristic. This is when we make judgments based on the most immediate examples that come to mind, rather than considering all possible information. For instance, if you've recently heard about a few people getting laid off at work, you might begin to fear that you could be next. Even though the likelihood of getting laid off hasn't changed, your mind is influenced by the recent events that are most readily available to you. In this case, your thinking is skewed by your recent experiences or news stories that have become overly prominent in your mind. This is why it's important to evaluate the full scope of a situation rather than relying on the most vivid or memorable examples. It's easy to think that the world is a dangerous place when we hear constant reports of crime, or that a particular trend is a guaranteed success simply because we've seen a few examples of it. We need to actively remind ourselves to look at the broader picture before making conclusions. Another common logical error is the anchoring bias. This happens when we rely too heavily on the first piece of information we encounter, even if that information is irrelevant or misleading. For example, if the first price you see for a product is $100, you may feel that a price of $80 is a great deal, even if the product's actual value is much lower. Similarly, in discussions or negotiations, the first argument or offer made can often set a reference point that influences subsequent decisions, even if that initial anchor has little to do with the real value of the situation. This type of bias can have a significant impact on our decisions in both everyday and professional contexts. The key to overcoming the anchoring bias is to remind yourself to re-evaluate your decisions based on new relevant information rather than clinging to an arbitrary starting point. In negotiations, for example, make sure to focus on the value and quality of what's being offered, not just the initial number that was thrown out there. Another logical error we commonly make is the overgeneralization. When something goes wrong or we experience a setback, it's easy to think that it will always be this way. This is when we take a single instance or a few instances of failure and apply it broadly, assuming that it will happen again in all situations. Overgeneralizing can prevent us from seeing the unique aspects of each situation, and it can cause unnecessary fear or hopelessness. For instance, if you fail an exam, you might think to yourself, "I'm not good at this, I'll never succeed in this field," but that's an overgeneralization. One exam does not define your entire capability or future success. This is a thought pattern that can hold us back if we don't catch it early. To combat overgeneralization, it's important to focus on the specific circumstances of each situation and to recognize that one failure or setback doesn't determine your overall potential. Every moment is a new opportunity to learn and improve. Similarly, we also fall prey to the sunk cost fallacy. This is when we continue investing time, money, or effort into something simply because we've already invested so much, even when it's clear that it's no longer the best course of action. This might happen in a job you don't enjoy anymore, a project that's clearly failing, or a relationship that is no longer fulfilling. The fallacy comes from the mistaken belief that you need to keep going because of what you've already put in. In reality, the past investments are gone, and they should not influence your decision about the future. To spot the sunk cost fallacy, you have to ask yourself, am I continuing because it's the right thing to do, or am I simply trying to justify past decisions? This will help you step out of a loop of irrational decision-making and make choices that are more aligned with your current needs and goals. One of the most insidious logical errors is the fundamental attribution error. This occurs when we attribute the actions of others to their character or personality, while attributing our own actions to the situation or external factors. For example, if someone cuts you off in traffic, you might think, "What a rude person." But if you cut someone off, you might justify it by thinking, "I was just in a rush, and I didn't see them." This bias can lead to misunderstanding and judgment of others, and it can prevent us from considering the full context of a situation. Recognizing the fundamental attribution error helps us understand that everyone's behavior is shaped by circumstances, not just their inherent character. It's important to challenge these biases and cognitive errors by asking ourselves deeper questions. Are we making assumptions without evidence? Are we allowing our emotions to cloud our thinking? Are we relying too heavily on one piece of information to make our decisions? The key to overcoming these errors is awareness. When we begin to notice these patterns in our thinking, we can step back and ask ourselves if we're really seeing the situation as it is, or if we're being influenced by biases and assumptions. Spotting logical errors isn't just about identifying cognitive biases, it's about shifting your thinking to a more rational, objective perspective. It's about choosing to question your automatic responses and assumptions instead of accepting them as truth. When you practice this kind of thinking, you can avoid making impulsive decisions that you later regret. You can take a more thoughtful approach to problems, relationships, and opportunities. You'll also find that you begin to understand others better, seeing them not through the lens of judgment, but through the understanding that everyone's thinking is shaped by their unique experiences and biases. By training your mind to spot these logical errors, you'll start to make decisions that are more aligned with your true goals and values. You'll move away from faulty reactive thinking and towards more rational, effective decision-making. And in doing so, you'll create a life that is guided by clear, sound reasoning, one where you are in control of your choices and empowered to move forward with confidence. Chapter 10. Look at problems from more than one view. When faced with a challenge, it's easy to get caught up in one perspective, one viewpoint, one way of thinking. Our brains are wired for simplicity, often opting for the quickest solution based on what we already know or feel. But this approach is limiting, especially when we are faced with complex problems that require deeper understanding and multiple viewpoints. Looking at problems from more than one view opens up new possibilities and reveals solutions that we might otherwise overlook. It's a skill that enhances decision-making, problem-solving, and personal growth. The most immediate benefit of examining a problem from different perspectives is that it helps us break free from tunnel vision. When we look at an issue from just one angle, we often fail to see the full picture. This can lead us to make poor decisions or, worse, ignore alternative approaches that could lead to better outcomes. It's the equivalent of looking through a keyhole at a room. You're only seeing a small part of it, but the entire room holds valuable insights if only we step back and examine it more broadly. Consider a situation where you're facing a conflict at work. Your first reaction might be to view the problem through the lens of your own frustration, thinking about how you've been wronged or overlooked. But this viewpoint only focuses on your own experience, limiting your ability to solve the issue effectively. If you take a step back and consider the perspectives of others involved, perhaps your colleague's workload, their pressures, or their communication style, you'll start to see the situation from a broader angle. This not only opens the door for empathy, but also allows you to develop a more constructive response. Similarly, in personal relationships, it's all too easy to view conflicts from a single viewpoint. When a disagreement arises, we often focus solely on our own feelings and interpretations. We may feel misunderstood or unappreciated, and this can cloud our judgment. However, taking a moment to consider the other person's feelings, motivations, and experiences can shift your perspective and help you understand the reasons behind their actions. This shift in mindset can transform a conflict into an opportunity for growth and deeper connection. Looking at problems from multiple viewpoints also enhances our critical thinking abilities. When we approach a problem from different angles, we're forced to examine it in its entirety. We ask ourselves more questions, challenge our assumptions, and test the validity of our conclusions. This kind of thinking encourages us to be more deliberate and thoughtful in our decision-making process, rather than rushing to judgment or opting for the easiest answer. It helps us see patterns we might have missed and understand how various factors contribute to the problem. Take the example of launching a new product in a business. If you only consider the problem from the perspective of the marketing team, you might focus solely on branding, advertising and messaging. However, if you broaden your viewpoint to include the product development team, customer service, and even the customers themselves, you'll get a more holistic understanding of the problem. Each group offers unique insights that can influence how the product is designed, marketed and sold. This approach not only improves the chances of the product's success, but also ensures that all stakeholders are considered, making for a more inclusive and effective solution. In order to develop this skill of seeing multiple perspectives, it's important to actively cultivate curiosity. Ask questions that challenge your assumptions and prompt you to think beyond the surface. Why is the situation the way it is? What are the various factors contributing to it? Who else might be affected, and how might they view the problem differently? These are the kinds of questions that help us step outside of our own biases and see things more clearly. Another valuable aspect of viewing problems from multiple perspectives is that it fosters creativity. When you allow yourself to entertain various viewpoints, you open the door to a wider range of solutions. Sometimes, the answer to a problem doesn't lie in any single perspective, but in the intersection of several ideas. It's often in the blending of different viewpoints that the most innovative solutions emerge. Imagine trying to solve a business problem, say, improving employee morale in a company. The traditional viewpoint might focus on offering more incentives or bonuses. But if you consider the perspectives of employees, you might realize that what they truly value is recognition, career development, or a better work-life balance. If you bring in the perspective of leadership, you might discover that the company's priorities or resources need to be realigned to foster a more supportive work environment. And by incorporating input from external consultants or industry experts, you may uncover new ideas that hadn't been considered internally. All these perspectives combined can lead to a more comprehensive solution that's far more effective than any one approach on its own. Looking at problems from more than one perspective also helps us become more adaptable. Life is unpredictable, and the ability to see multiple viewpoints equips us to respond more flexibly to challenges. When we're confronted with an obstacle, we no longer need to feel stuck or limited by the first solution that comes to mind. Instead, we can adapt and find alternative routes to success. This mindset not only makes us more resilient, but also empowers us to navigate change with greater ease. In addition, considering different perspectives helps us develop emotional intelligence. It trains us to listen better, understand others more deeply, and approach conflicts with greater empathy. By putting ourselves in others' shoes, we learn to manage our own emotions and respond more thoughtfully in difficult situations. This is particularly important in leadership roles, where the ability to relate to others and understand their viewpoints is crucial for building trust and fostering collaboration. The process of examining problems from multiple perspectives also strengthens our communication skills. When we understand the viewpoints of others, we are better equipped to explain our own thoughts and ideas in a way that resonates with different people. It also helps us engage in more productive conversations where all voices are heard and valued. This not only leads to better problem solving, but also builds stronger relationships, whether in the workplace, at home or in our communities. It's also important to recognize that no single perspective is entirely right or wrong. Each viewpoint offers a piece of the puzzle, and by piecing these together, we arrive at a fuller understanding of the situation. When we allow ourselves to see things from various angles, we learn to embrace complexity and uncertainty. We become more comfortable with ambiguity and more skilled at making decisions in situations that lack clear answers. This capacity for nuanced thinking is crucial in a world where problems are rarely black and white. Ultimately, viewing problems from multiple perspectives helps us grow as individuals. It pushes us to expand our horizons, challenge our assumptions, and embrace diverse ways of thinking. It allows us to move beyond our own narrow viewpoint and consider the broader implications of our actions. It encourages us to be more open-minded, flexible, and empathetic, qualities that are essential for success in both personal and professional life. This approach also fosters a sense of humility. When we recognize that no one person has all the answers, we become more open to learning from others and more willing to admit when we don't know something. We acknowledge that our perspective is just one of many, and that other people's experiences, ideas, and insights can provide valuable contributions. By practicing this mindset, we become more receptive to feedback, more willing to collaborate, and ultimately more effective in solving problems. When faced with a difficult problem or decision, ask yourself, what am I missing? Who else can offer valuable insight? How might others view this situation differently? By continually asking these questions and actively seeking out diverse viewpoints, you'll develop the skills necessary to see problems from every angle and to approach challenges with a more balanced, open-minded approach. Looking at problems from multiple perspectives is a powerful tool for growth, innovation, and problem-solving. It helps us break free from the limitations of our own thinking, fosters creativity, and improves our ability to make decisions that are informed and thoughtful. It enhances our emotional intelligence, strengthens our communication skills, and builds stronger relationships. Most importantly, it allows us to become more adaptable, resilient, and capable of navigating life's complexities with clarity and confidence. By embracing the practice of seeing things from various viewpoints, we can approach problems with greater insight and find solutions that might otherwise have remained hidden.